Hello guys, how are you? Um, I see we have a couple of participants right now. Can we wait for 5-10 minutes so that few more people can join us and then we can start with our session today?
Hey, good morning, Sridhar.
Good morning, Nikin. We do
Good
have a
morning,
couple of
everyone.
participants today.
Wonderful. Thank you all so much for taking the time to join us today. My name is Nikin Sridhar. I'm from the Open Atlas team. And Open Atlas is a nonprofit community of high skilled immigrants where we help our community members with admissions, housing, jobs, visas, life in the US, and more. You can check out us at theopenatlas.org. Put a link in the chat too. And today, super excited to have a distinguished speaker join us, Sridhar Yandaburi. Sridhar's originally from India, from Hyderabad. He had a successful career as an entrepreneur in the renewable energy industry before coming to the US for an MBA. He was able to get admitted to multiple Ivy League universities and ultimately chose Columbia for his MBA. And today, he's one of the top ranked mission consultants in courts and fonts and other forums. So we appreciate you taking the time. And today's session is for each and every one of you that's attending. We'll save the questions towards the end, would be my one request. So if you have any questions that come up during the presentation, so write them in the chat. They're saved, we can answer one. Or at the end, we'll just open it up for Q&A and you can raise your hands and ask your questions live. That, over to you, Sridhar.
Thank you, Nikin, and thank you everyone for taking your time off and attending this session. So, basically the idea of this session is I'm going to show you how do we build successful business school applications. Before that, a few points about myself. So I've been one of your students like you who have applied to business schools, and I've gone through this journey. So I've been tutoring students for GMAT, GRE, And post that, I started helping them with admission consultants. As of date, I have around more than 130 plus students admitted across top business schools. Name it Harvard, INSEAD, Columbia, Wharton, and many more. Yes, I'm rated 9.78 on Poets and Cons. You can check my ratings. So, the idea of this session is to share few important points on which a candidate's application is being evaluated by the business schools, and how do you present your profile to make sure that you stand out unique and make a difference. So let's start. So as I've shared, this is about myself. So I'm a Columbia grad, and I myself had 11 on 12 admits across different schools. Some of my candidates have been admitted to Harvard, Wharton, Columbia, INSEAD, LBS, Indian Business, ISB, as well as you know other P15 schools also. Uh, and I have had around more than 7 million. I've achieved more than 7 million plus scholarships for my students, including full ride scholarships at schools like Harvard and MIT also. And we also have Nikin, who manages the operations at Open Admits and is also the founder of Open Atlas, who runs a non-profit organization for uh, candidates or immigrants who want to move to US. That's about us. So let's start with the first question, which I normally ask candidates, and I would give you a second or two to think about it. What are schools really looking for in candidates? So if I were to ask you, or if anyone asks you a question, what do you think these schools are looking for? Your dream school, whatever it could be. It could be a Wharton, it could be Darden, it could be Harvard. If an AdCom is, if you're applying to a school, what do you think the AdCom is looking for? I would give you a second to think about it. Yeah. So I hear students coming up with different answers. Some say that we need to have strong academics. Some say we need to have worked in consulting, or we should have worked in investment banking. So, which means that having a strong professional career in the past. And some say it's about showing that I can create an impact. And some say that it's about showcasing strong goals post MBA. You all are right, but the point is, which everyone or most of the students miss, is connecting the dots. How do you arrange all these things in a specific roadmap is the most important thing, which I'm going to show today. So let us understand this. What are schools really looking for? Yes, you're right. Schools are looking for a visionary candidate who can showcase an impact. What does that mean? Like you want to be part of a change which you want to create that would serve a specific society, community, or an industry or a sector. It could be anything. Like you want to get into tech, tech product manager. As a product manager, you want to get into tech and you want to build products that could actually make a difference to a society. Or you want to get into finance world and build something like creating a financial inclusion for a specific society or a community. So you want to get into manufacturing, where you want to make a difference in the manufacturing sector through sustainability or through coming up with new supply chains, where you want to make a difference. That is the most important thing schools are looking for. They want to invest their resources in visionary candidates whom they believe that you can make a difference. That's the most important thing. The second most important thing they're looking at is what is your current situation of what is the current reality in your career? What is happening in your life? Are you are you already working towards that vision? If so, what are the things that are stopping you right now? What are the three gaps? Because they want to find a connection. When you say you have a vision, for example, you have a vision, you're in manufacturing sector, you have a vision to make a difference in supply chain through AI and coming up with sustainability. They want to evaluate, are you currently in manufacturing? Are you in what industry or sector are you currently in? And is it connected to that vision? If so, what are the three gaps you're facing, three or four gaps that you're not able to achieve that vision? That is the second most important thing they're evaluating. Third, they understand the gaps you're facing, and then they want to identify how are you planning to achieve that vision. That is possible through goals. Yes, your short-term, long-term goals are supposed to help you out along with your MBA to overcome these gaps to achieve the vision which you want to achieve. So your short-term goal is going to prepare you and provide you certain resources which MBA cannot provide. When you combine these resources from short-term goals and MBA, you reach your long-term goal. Now, long-term goal is a specific position that will prepare you to achieve your vision. In this whole journey, MBA should act as a bridge, and everything in your career should connect right from today to the point of your vision which you want to achieve. And the most important thing schools also try to look for is, have you recognized or have you understood the kind of resources schools will offer you to overcome these gaps, to travel through this journey, and I help you achieve this vision. Because when you're spending $250,000, the most important thing schools want to evaluate is, did he clearly identify the requirement of how an MBA can fulfill his gaps to achieve the vision, and that vision should make a difference to that specific society, like I said, a community or a sector. This is where they want to evaluate the fit and purpose of your whole journey, which many candidates don't think so. I don't think many candidates think deeply about this. Rather, they keep asking me a specific question like, can I fit in a specific goal to make sure I get into a specific school? It's not that way, it's the other way around, where you need to understand how a specific school can help you reach your vision. It's very important that you understand, you mention that to schools that this is what I want to achieve and this is how I need your resources. It's not the other way where you say that if I put it as marketing, I can get into Kellogg. If I say I want to get into, if I want to be an investment banker, I want to get into Columbia. No, it doesn't work like that. It should make sense that you have some knowledge about finance world and make sure, for example, you're in, let us say you're working in a renewable energy sector as a project manager, but you see yourself as a finance head, or you want to get into finance world because you understand that finance plays a critical role in energy sector because it's a capital intensive sector. So you could share how Columbia's finance knowledge and specific courses could help you make the transition from managerial role within the energy sector to finance world. It should actually make sense. And yes, school understands that resources of finance can be provided because energy, finance, and management, they work closely. So it should actually make sense. But working in energy sector, if you say you want to be a product manager at Google, that could actually, it could not work out so well because sometimes you have to connect the dots. Or maybe if you could show that managerial role within energy sector is closely aligned to product manager role within tech sector at Google. So please always make sure you understand the fit and purpose of the resources which a school will provide to you. Now, when you share these points to the school of your gaps, your journey, and how you have evaluated and what is the vision you want to achieve, the next big thing they're looking at is they're evaluating, is this candidate uh, speaking truth? Is he really, did he clearly identify his roadmap? And how much of this is clearly possible? Like, if you have shared a specific vision, is it really credible enough for you to achieve that? So this is how do they evaluate these points? They evaluate this on using three pillars. First, academics. Yes, they look at your GMAT, they look at your GMAT, GRE, GPA, everything to make sure that you are having those required quantitative skills to understand the curriculum and to take things forward in your career. Professional achievements, like I've said, yes, when you say that you have a specific vision you want to achieve, they surely are going to check your leadership impact, which you have done in the past. They always believe that your past is a pure reflection of your future. And also, they evaluate through your resume, through your recommendation letters, and your work experience. They are clear identification of how you have performed till date. Coming to personal achievements, because you say you want to build a vision that makes a difference to a society or a community, they are going to evaluate this based on your personal achievements because they believe that how you stand up at difficult times, or how you stand up in voluntary works, or how you stand up when things are getting difficult reflects clearly about how you'll stand up when you want to make a difference to a society in the future. So schools are clearly looking for a clear purpose, and your past and your present clearly showcases that. Let me give you an example of a fintech student I've worked with. So, she had 2 years of experience at the time of application and 3 years by matriculation. So uh, she was a software engineer at multinational bank. So many, she came to us and she was like, I have 2 years work ex. Do you think I can make it to M7 schools? She wasn't an IITian, and her GPA was around 8.8, but she had a very strong GMAT. She had a 715 on Focus Edition. So the question was, when she joined us, she said that she was a software engineer. When we brainstormed ideas, the most important thing we were looking for is how can she make an impact. So I started asking her what is her daily work, because normally when students join us, we ask them to fill the consultation form, and then once she started filling it, I saw that she has built multiple applications at the multinational bank that actually help them to achieve new, you know, applications that optimize the way they were working on specific projects and executing certain tasks at bank. So the next question we were thinking about is how can she use her experience to create a broader impact. So that's when we started studying the multinational banks and compared with the regional banks in the country. And from there, we started understanding that regional banks cannot implement these solutions which multinational banks are implementing because they're way too expensive and they cannot afford the consultants which multinational banks normally offer, uh, 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 you know, which normally pay for. So the vision was to build a financial inclusion to empower national banks across the country. And how could she achieve that vision? If she was a consultant. Yes. So her long-term goal was establishing a specific consulting firm by herself where she could expand her knowledge and she could transform these regional financial institutions. But to achieve that, apart from tech, she needed her strategical knowledge on building these frameworks. And how is that possible? If she could work in consulting sector, which focuses on this area with this specific industry. So by clearly fitting everything, she also explained the resources which a specific M7 school can offer her. She has done her networking while talking to students and filling those gaps. So this actually helped us to get her into M7 school as well as get her a scholarship. So it's not about your work experience always. Sometimes you can have a vision even at a 2 years work experience, but the most important thing is how do you fit these things in your complete roadmap is the most important thing. Always fit the resources within the roadmap and fit the requirements within the roadmap and then share with school the resources you're looking for and how a school can be a perfect fit to help you that journey. Uh, just I'll share it again. What is the difference between vision and goals? Many people get confused between this when they are writing their applications or essays. So, vision is something you want to achieve at some point in your career, or you want, or about how you make a difference to a specific, like I said, society or industry or a sector. Goals are specific positions which you want to reach and learn sometime. So, like in her case, she wanted to join consulting firm. She wanted to understand strategy, build frameworks, because she was good at implement. She was good at building applications, but she wasn't. She was never someone who could implement things. She was never someone who could make strategical decisions. She was never who knew what operations, how could they be handled. For that, she had to take her goal one of getting into MBB or top tier consulting to understand how financial consulting is done. And her long-term goal was to reach to a specific position of setting up her own consulting firm back in India and offering those services or consulting services to national banks at a very affordable pricing. That's the goal she wanted to achieve. And the vision was at the end of the day, she wanted to achieve financial inclusion and empower the country. Next point in building a successful application is resume building. So I do get a lot of requests for Ding analysis for students who get rejected every year. So, and I see a very common mistake is they don't follow very simple steps in building a resume. The most important thing which many students do is they create a two-page resume. So MBA resumes are always meant to be one page. Unless you have like vast experience, even that is not acceptable. But if you're very sure that you want to bring out everything, then we could go for two page. But it's never suggestible to go more than one page for MBA resume. So the most important thing about resume, which I feel many people miss out, is understanding that your resume should focus on the action, the impact, and the intent. These points are very important. You need to show all these three things in your resume. It's not just about building some resume points and showing about your professional experience and all, but your actions, your impact, and your intent, because these are clearly connected to your goals and vision which you want to achieve. So let's understand this further. Always start with strong action verbs. If you are preparing for GMAT, you know this is verb ED. And when a sentence is followed by a comma verb ing, it shows the impact or the result of the first part of the sentence. For example, you cannot start saying responsible for optimizing. It should be starting with verb ed, so it could be optimized specific operations or optimized specific applications, comma, reflecting so and so things. So what does this mean? Any action you have executed in the first part of the sentence should lead to an impact or a result which is showcased in the second part of the sentence. Explain the situation, team size, budget, and the challenge you have addressed. It's very important. Use the numbers, as you know, quantifying results. And I'm going to share a very important point about how you quantify results also, and then showcasing the impact. So if you look at this sentence, spearheaded a cross-functional digital transformation initiative across three departments. Starting with a verb ED form, you have performed a specific action and you have mentioned you have quantified it where you have performed. As a result, you're using verb ing. Again, you're using quantifying it. Now, the point about quantification is people mention numbers, but there is a very important point when you're quantifying a specific sentence. It should be time bound and it should clearly mention how is it reflecting the whole project. like optimizing delivery time by 15% and resulting in 2 million annual savings. We are trying to make this all time bound and project bound. It's very important. I've seen people just saying uh, reducing time by 15%. They don't mention what time is it. Is it delivery time? Is it operational errors? What kind of errors? They don't mention it. They don't even mention that they say resulting in 2 million savings. It's always important to show if you're a business student, please mention if it's annual savings, quarterly savings. Couple of things to do and to not do. Yes, like I've shared, increase sales by 20%. 20% of what? I don't, I've seen people just writing this, but they don't mention the time frame. Always mention a time frame. It's very important. Manage team. They stop it at this point. I manage something like manage team, comma, resulting in so and so things. No, you got to mention like why did you manage teams? What was the intention of that management? You spearheaded or you led 8% team through a product launch, or how have you played an important role in that specific project? Show your progression from individual contributor to team leader. There are certain uh, you got to use words that actually show your team collaboration. Show up, show points where how you have done contribution. Don't just randomly write points, but try to show the points you as a leader or a contributor how you can add value to a project. Don't just list your achievements. I've seen this people just write I was awarded by, I've recognized, I've promoted, and all these points. Uh, it's important that you should also show your duties, like how you have contributed to a specific project, how you have been part of a team in building new products. Even though many people say that because we have worked in startups, we could not get interview calls, the most important problem is they don't, in startups, they keep saying always that um, I was awarded this, I was this, but they don't say how they don't list their duties or responsibilities in those startups, like how did they organize a specific sales meeting, and how did they recognize the reasons for sales loss or something like that. Every startup has certain points, and you need to come up with, like I've said, action, impact, and your intent to doing things, on executing things. Bringing all this together till now, what we have discussed, the most important thing is who you are, your strengths, your values, your unique perspectives, and what have you done till date. What is it that drives you, and where are you going, and why is it now? The most important question when you apply to business schools is they want to know why is it now? What is it that you're looking for at this stage of your career that you want an MBA, and are you clearly identifying what an MBA will provide you? Are you able to understand the value of the resources you're going to achieve? And then, like I've said, why this school? Yes, that's what they're evaluating. Have you clearly identified the resources that will help you achieve these goals, which will further create an impact on your vision? Now, like I've said, another important point is letter of recommendations. Now, letter of recommendations, people take people don't give this as much importance as it should be given, is what I feel sometimes. Because so I've been an entrepreneur pre-MBA, and for me, my recommenders were Fortune 500 clients. I didn't choose anyone from my company, though I did have different, I had investors, I had partners, and I did have co-founders, but I didn't want to choose from my company because someone external to the company would actually give me would add a lot of credibility when they're talking about how I perform under pressure, how I perform under team, how I perform under a specific team, how do I manage teams, and how do I act when there are failures or conflicts at work. So we need recommenders who can actually showcase that in your profile, and someone who can vouch for your vision and your goals. So it's very important you choose the right recommenders, and not just anyone. You cannot choose a CEO just because you're in a startup and you know that two or three positions above you is your CEO. I wouldn't recommend that unless you're directly working or reporting to your CEO. You could choose a client because they have understood the type of services and your experiences at work. So this is our today's session, and I'm happy to take over any questions uh, if you guys have.
Thank you so much, Sridhar, for such a detailed and informative presentation. Anyone who has questions, please feel free to raise your hand and we can ask you to unmute. So you can ask your question live.
Yes, Swastik, please go ahead.
Hi, thank you for such a wonderful breakdown. This is really helpful. Just to give a little bit of background, I have a bachelor's degree in a mechanical engineering and a master's degree in project management, and I've currently been working in the manufacturing industry, and before that, heavy industry, heavy mining industry. So my combined experience spans over design, process improvement, and manufacturing engineering, all of that. However, I do want to pivot to a more strategic role where either I'm targeting the product or program manager level roles, or I would like to pivot to a consulting industry as well. So I am not 100% sure on how to make that pivot or what it entails completely. So how do I bridge that gap? Because currently I I am taking a lot of managerial or leadership initiatives in my current individual contributor role, but there is no career trajectory for me to advance to the next level based on my experience, at least for the next 5 to 7 years in my current company, which is why I want to pivot where I can be at that strategic level. So I do intend on pursuing an MBA sooner than later. So how do I present my profile in a way that I can express how to bridge that gap? And the second part of the question is, I have often heard that and this might be a myth, that the top seven or the top 10 business schools, they're very particular about what your GPA were and where you have worked and what kind of organizations and volunteer activities and things like that have you been associated with. How much of that is true? And if I don't have that level of a stellar profile, would I still stand a chance to apply or get accepted to those top 7 or 10 business schools in the US?
Sure. Thank you for your question. So let's go start with the second question first. So you said that you believe that you don't have a stellar profile. Now, this is where I believe that many students fall apart in their thought process. And this was a situation with myself too, because when I was applying, I had so many things on my mind, like can an entrepreneur get into M7? Is it that specific consultants only can make it? Now, understanding, we need to break down your profile a little. So, which year did you graduate from bachelor's? You're on mute, suspect, if you're speaking anything.
Yeah, I wasn't able to
Yeah,
unmute myself for some reason.
no
I
problem. Yeah.
graduated with a bachelor's degree in 2016, and I recently completed my master's earlier this year.
Okay. So, where did you graduate from in bachelor's?
I Arizona State University.
Oh, so you went to ASU, and what's your GPA like?
It was 3.3 out of 4.
Okay, so that's a great GPA. So you shouldn't worry about it if you have scored 3.3. Even if you scored up to 3, that's a good score. First thing is that. So, and you said you have worked for 3 years. So you must have worked since you graduated from master's this year. So you have like six years work prior to your
I
master's.
Yeah, so cumulatively, I have about close to 7 years of work experience at this point.
Okay. So the most important question which the schools will identify or ask you, which I'm not sure you have thought through, is you said that you graduated this year, right? So the schools are looking at one question. Someone who graduated this year, why is he immediately planning for an MBA? You know, because the education or the step you have taken in your career at this point to join masters should reflect something in terms of your career trajectory. That's what they're looking for. Okay, so maybe you should work for 1 2 years and tell them how is it aligned with the vision you want to pick up. So if you're saying that you're being in manufacturing and you want to get into strategical side of manufacturing, and then we need to break it down further to understand which industry are we talking about. I'm not sure if you said automobiles, or maybe it could be even consumer industry or what it is. So after pursuing this how is the specific masters aligned with the goal or the roadmap which you're achieving is what they're trying to question first. So after doing this masters, what is it that you want to do and how is it aligned to your vision or goals is the most important question you need to ask yourself and say the same to the school. That is how MBA schools are looking for. First thing is that. When you say about stellar profile, see, Arizona is a great university. I haven't asked you about your company, but I'm assuming you have had a 7 years work ex as a design engineer. Uh, so that should surely add value for that. Okay. And the most important next thing they would really ask is how is your journey connected from your bachelor's to post-bachelor's to master's to postmaster? So you have 7 years, you have done 2 years master's, and they would expect you to work for 1 or 2 years and apply to MBA because they want to know that how did your thought process change from master's to MBA when you want to achieve something different? Do you get it? What I'm trying to share here?
Yes, so just to add a little bit of a curveball to it. So when I was
Yeah.
pursuing my master's, I was working as well. So I worked in as a contractor for the government. I've worked in at a company Caterpillar. Now I'm working for a company which is also a Fortune 500 company, but they're into manufacturing doors. So I worked as a process improvement consultant, a design engineer, and now as a manufacturing engineer. So my master's was in project management, which was already part of what I was doing. And because of certain immigration requirements and also get, advancing in that project management role, I did pursue that master's, which I was already, in a way, contributing to in my company. So there is not much of an add-on value from that degree because I did take the CAPM certification and I'm working towards my PMP as well. So the outcomes or whatever the targets for that degree was, I'm either already there or about to be there within the next 1 year, probably less than that. So that's where, and now that I am being given certain responsibilities to take on managerial roles, not officially, but unofficially as well. And I do see the value and importance of strategy and management and things like that because I do want to be in that space where I'm part of the decision making process. And also, I do want to pivot towards tech industry in general, and I'm working towards it. I'm working on some AI certifications and things like that, which is why I want to understand that yes, I have already fulfilled a lot of the goals for my master's degree, which is why I'm ready to pivot to the next level. So how do I articulate that to make sure that I
Okay,
present my case properly?
correct. So, how do we articulate such scenarios is like this? First, we need to identify what is it that you want to achieve at the end of your career. Imagine you're reaching 45, 50 at 30, 40 to 45, your age. What is it that one thing that you want to achieve? It could be anything like you want to build, you want to design a specific car, or you want to design a specific, whatever it could be, a product, a tech product, or a product that enables with AI or something. We're going to identify that specific thing and how it can create an impact. What is the vision for your product or a service you want to build? That is the first thing. Second thing, to build that product or vision or service, what have you done so far in your career till date? And then, third thing, identify those 3 to 4 gaps, like you have shared, you haven't learned much. So you're saying you haven't learned much, but what is the 3 things that you feel you haven't learned, but you want to learn, and which you believe that an MBA will provide you the resources to achieve that, is where we need to sit down and brainstorm. I cannot tell you right away because normally this brainstorming process takes me like, I have certain specific consultation form you need to fill, and I need to sit down because see the gaps right over the, when we are speaking, you could tell me the gaps, saying that I'm not satisfied with my course. I don't have the strategical knowledge. I don't have the frameworks to build a case study. I want to build a product, but I don't have this. But as a consultant, I need to sit down and brainstorm with you, identify those things. At the same point, I also need to identify the goals that will actually help you achieve that. It's not that we choose a random goal to achieve that. We have to make sure that the gaps you're sharing are clearly aligned with the goals you want and the vision. Because, like I said, MBA schools need candidates with purpose. You cannot just tell them, I want to get into strategic consulting. Why? Why do you want to get into strategic consulting? What is it that, where is the point of, what is the area of deployment of this strategic knowledge? Where are you using? What are you trying to build? These are the points which they will evaluate. So for that, I need to identify the gaps and tell the school these are the resources we want and which your school will offer you. Because what Columbia will offer you is not same as what Wharton will offer you, those resources. So this is the most important thing we require. And this takes some process for me to sit down with you and identify those gaps. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you so much. Thanks for the breakdown.
No problem. No problem. Yeah.
Hey, hi, Mahima this side.
Hi,
Thanks,
Maina. Yeah.
thanks, Sridhar and Nikin for such a lovely session, and really appreciate your efforts and helping us with the journey. So, before I jump into my question, just giving a few details about me. I graduated with a bachelor's in pharmacy degree in 2020 from BITS Pilani, Hyderabad campus with a CGPA of around 9.01. Since then, I think in my last term, I had an internship with Amazon in floor operations management, and it's been more than 5 years I have been with Amazon. I have dabbled across multiple roles within management sector, starting from floor operations, process excellence, category, and now in worldwide program team. So post MBA, I want to pivot from kind of internal consulting to the proper management consulting, like from MBBs or things like that. My question to you would be, I'm not sure if this background helps, but my question to you would be, in the session somewhere you mentioned that schools also check how well or how uh, in detail the candidate has researched the school and identified what particular pieces will help them achieve what they want from MBA. So what are the ways, or how do you suggest I go about and learn about these things? And specifically, if say I get some connects via LinkedIn about certain alumni, what are the right questions to ask? Because I might get just 30 minutes or less than that with them, and to utilize that time in the most uh, futile, like the best way, what are the 3 4 things I should be asking? And yeah, I
Sure,
think
great.
sorry,
Yeah,
like in all this
no, go
I
ahead.
forgot to mention one of the biggest points. So my GMAT is not very well. It's 635 in focus edition. I'm still trying to study and give one more attempt, but as of now the best score I have is 635.
Okay, cool. Thank you. So I see three questions here. Uh, let's go with the GMAT question. But before the GMAT thing, so can I ask you one question? What
Sure.
is your dream school? What is that one dream school you're like, I want to be there?
It would be Harvard.
Okay, cool. Okay, great. So let me go with that. So first and foremost, let us address it. As you know, we need to push your GMAT up to 700
Mhm.
plus on Focus Edition for Harvard. Okay. I don't think uh, we need to have any uh, difference in idea thoughts about it. Correct. So
Right.
700 Focus Edition is required. See, I'm not saying there are people who got with 655 Harvard. If you say that, yes, there are people who got that, but there are other factors also which you and I don't know. Okay. There are people who have done extremely good volunteering impact experiences, who work for a lot of large companies, who've done great journals and presentations and all. Yes, and the most important, demographic. So even if you're applying from Congo or Nigeria, you apply with 625. Yes, they do accept it sometimes. Sorry,
Hmm.
not even Nigeria, from Congo. Considering the competition and the diversity they bring to the classroom. So first and foremost, let me make it clear: 695 is also minimum. Hopefully, you score 705 or above. Okay, so don't. It's okay. Take some time off. I'm not asking you to rush for round two. Please work hard on it and push for next year.
Hmm.
Second point. So this is one question which I think I didn't know while I was applying, and I think many people should know is, you were saying that you want to get into MBB. Okay. So what you do after you enter a school, no one is going to compare. Okay. It's not
Hmm.
necessary that you tell a school that you want to be a product manager, but later you move on to apply for MBB consulting jobs. Schools don't care. So your main focus at this point should be to get into a school, Harvard. That's it. Just get into Harvard classroom. That's what your focus is.
Hmm.
Now, third thing, you have been part of Amazon, you have been a floor manager, you have been a category manager. The most important thing, what I would say here is understanding, like I've said, your vision which you're going to build should be clearly aligned with the category manager roles for the past work experience of yours. So if you find that an MBB or a strategical experience can add value and is aligned to your pre-MBA experience, then we can connect the dots to get into MBB roles. Okay. If you feel if we are not able to align it, then we need to look at hierarchical or leadership positions that are aligned to your current job work experience. So here comes the next question, which is, only when you align this roadmap, you know that I want to reach from my current position to a position, let us say position X. You're currently at a position A, you want to reach X. So when you talk to a student, you need to identify the resources which school will offer you to reach that position X. So what does this mean? You're a categorical manager. you've done a product manager, you've done category manager, and let us go by your example only. Though I have not seen your resume, let us say you want to get into MBB consulting only. And as a category manager, I mean, I'm assuming that you have dealt with supply chain across Amazon, and that's what you have done. And now you're trying to get into MBB as a generalist. You want to get into McKinsey. You want to be a generalist, and you want to deal with things such as identifying the supply chain issues and how do you want to learn the AI new trends and implement that to achieve certain whatever sustainability scenarios across the supply chain and specifically focused on consumer products. Let's imagine this is what you want to achieve. Now, when you are talking to a student, your questions should be aligned right from your position to how do you move to MBB. So you're gonna first question is gonna be how do I prepare myself for MBB? When do these recruiting companies come to recruit in the school? So when do people start preparing for the case studies? Does the school provide? How does the career resources help you with that? And then who is that specific professor who teaches supply chain consulting? Any specific operations or strategy classes I need to take? So when you figure out your roadmap, it's just like this, you're going to buy a car or a home or anything. What are you going to ask? Who are your neighbors? Or is this location safe? How is the rent? Is it stable? The questions are related to the purpose of doing an MBA. You need to start removing the word Harvard from your mind, rather fitting a question asking, does Harvard even have a supply chain consulting course? Or who are the consultants? Or how many years or how many candidates are even interviewed for MBB? And what is the percentage? So when you think about the purpose of applying to a program, your questions are clearly in front of you. And this is what I have done, to be frank. So when I applied, I reached out to more than 150 students over LinkedIn. I know it's tough, but from every school, I would just send out requests to 10 to 20 people because at least this is from my numbers. If you reach out to 20, 2 or 3 respond to you. And 2 or 3 would love to get on a call and really talk to you. Even sometimes, though there are student ambassadors, we are not sure how much of them would be really interested. So the most important point here is the questions you need to ask should be straightforward, helping you out to identify your purpose. Many people don't realize that. Many people think that talking to students would get them admission, would add bonus points to their admission. No, talking to them is the only point is to find out the purpose or resources of the school. That is your clear purpose of the phone call. You can record it while you're talking to them. Even today, I have my call recordings from the students I've spoke to. So you clearly know what you want from the program, and that's it. Those are the questions you need to ask. Does that help you?
Oh, it does, absolutely. Thank you very much for the insight and
No problem.
Okay.
No problem. Yeah.
Any other questions, folks? Please feel free to raise your virtual hand or message me in the chat. Going once. Oh, yes. Please go ahead, Savita.
Hello, Sridhar.
Hi.
Hello, Nikin. Thank you so much, and it's a session really informative, and there's so many points I get to know which I can use for my profile improvement and how I should work on to proceed my profile for further MBA programs or what my goal. So a bit
No
about me,
problem.
I'll tell about I already completed my bachelor in computer application and also master in computer applications. I completed by 2018, and after that currently I'm having a 7 years of experience in IT field as a software engineer. I began my journey with startup mid-level companies. Previously I worked in a MNC also, SCL. So with the IT field, I have so much knowledge to it's whether it's if I want to crack a deal with the client, how to work, how to build a software from scratch to tell the deployment, all I'm aware about that. So my goal is right now, I'm good with IT. I can learn and upgrade my skill set also. Currently, I'm not working. I'm just upgrading my skill set. So, how I can I want to do MBA, and my goal is to do a startup, IT company, to do my own startup. So CGPA, if I'll tell you, with my master grades, it's 7.4 CGPA, bachelor not good, 5.6 out of 10. So how I can get admission in our top MBA schools, and if you can tell me about.
Sure, I'll do that. Sure, thank you for asking. So, first and foremost, like I said, there are three areas based on which your application is evaluated, like I've shared in the session. Academics, yes, you have scored low on bachelor's. You have improved it to 7 plus, and you have 7 years of work ex. So many times what happens is we write an optional essay sharing why your scores have been low. Sharing, it could be a personal problem or it could be anything, it could be anything related to finances, personal, or you had issues with the school or curriculum or anything. We clearly explain that, which we will brainstorm. First thing is that. Second
Okay.
thing, there are certain important things. Most important thing which I get which I tell students when they reach out to me is there are certain variables you cannot control, and that is GPA is one of them. So when you can't control it, don't worry about it. You have to work with what you have. So what is it that schools are looking for? If you can handle the curriculum or academics required. So for that, we need to push our GMAT or GRE. So my first suggestion is push your GMAT and GRE scores. You have to start ticking the boxes that will actually strengthen your application. And for that, first academically, you have to prove them you can handle the curriculum. So score high on GMAT and GRE. There are no alternatives for that. If you ask me how high, I would say if you can push 700 plus on Focus Edition and 330 plus on GRE, that is great score. Now, don't ask me that if I score 665, is it good enough? See, that is a point factor which can be controlled. That's why I'm saying you push for 705. If you score 665, please retake and push to 705. I'm not saying I can't do this I've had students who have got admissions, but they had GPA high, their GMAT has been low, but we can't be low at every point. So you have to push for 695 or 705 or above. That's the first thing. We cannot compromise. And I'm talking about top 10 or 15 schools because you asked top 10 schools or 15 schools. Perfect. Professionally, 7 years work ex across IT, that's good. You haven't shared with me what kind of clients you work with, because that's an important thing which I normally brainstorm. Because, see, even though you're in IT, it's important which industry you have served. Have you served a fintech industry? Have you served a logistics industry? Have you served a supply chain industry? That's the most important point we need to identify. Second thing, if you have offered IT solutions, there should be some strategies behind it, or there should be certain operations involved where your IT applications have been utilized. So we need to connect that to the vision you want to build by starting your own startup. At the same point, another critical question you need to ask is, when do you want to start this startup? So let us say, so I'm assuming that you have done your bachelor's, and so you must be 30, 31. So if you're applying to a school, you're spending $200,000 to make a school go and study in a specific school. Yes, if you get scholarships, that's a great thing. So let us consider the worst part, which is 200,000 you're spending. So if you're spending 200,000, the startup you're going to start, how much money does that require is something you need to think through. So schools are going to evaluate that if you're spending 200,000, do you immediately want to start a startup? If so, they're going to identify, have you clearly identified the gaps and the resources that are so important for you that you spend 200,000 to learn and then go back to India or wherever you want to start and put another 100, 200,000 to start a startup. That is the most important thing. So based on that, we are going to tell the school if startup is your short-term goal or long-term goal. If it's a long-term goal, what is your immediate short-term goal? And if you're talking about MBB consulting or whatever it is, or you want to join in a startup, what it is, so this should be clearly aligned to the startup. Now, uh, in order to answer your question, uh, you need a high GMAT score, and we need to clearly identify where your IT services have been utilized completely and how we can align them to the school's resources and how we present them in our essays. That is the most important thing. Don't worry much about the variables you can't control. Rather, focus on what you have, how you can build, and how you can present them. Does that answer your question? Sorry, you're on mute if you're speaking anything.
I was unable to unmute that. Yes, really insightful, and yes, I got the answers which where I need to improve and where I need to work on to improve my profile. So thank you so
Sure.
much, Sriram.
Any questions, please feel free to email me.
Okay.
I'll share my email in the chat window.
Sure,
Okay?
sure. Thank you so
Sure.
much.
No problem. Yes, Swastik, please go ahead.
Quick couple of questions. So GRE versus GMAT, is there a preference that we should be targeting? And because I always get confused. There are so many people, they say, oh, take the GMAT and the GRE. And the other question is, uh, what does it take for a good scholarship application, and what percentage of students do secure scholarships? Because again, these B schools are really expensive and would love to secure a scholarship if I were to get admitted. So if you could just elaborate a little bit on that. Thank you.
Sure, sure. Let's go one by one. GMAT versus GRE. Okay, the funny part is I applied to Columbia with both GMAT and GRE. So I don't know which one they took for me, but last year um, I had a student. She applied with GRE 334, and she got interviews from 9 schools. And her GPA was low, and she didn't go to a great school, but her GPA was low, and she studied in Bangalore, but she scored 333. But yes, she was a risk consultant at KPMG, and she got interviews from many of the top 10 schools or 11 schools with GRE. Coming to GMAT, students have got admits with GMAT to 695. But something I prefer to avoid is taking GMAT or GRE at home. I'm not saying that, by the way, the girl who got 333, she took it at home. So, you know, I do have certain stats with me which says that GMAT or GRE doesn't really matter. However, I would say try to avoid taking at home if possible. That's my only point there. But I think GMAT and GRE are same. And I'm talking in terms of stats. I'm not talking based on what schools say or anyone say, based on the stats I've seen. In fact, this year also, I have had students with GRE getting in interview invites from many of top 10 and 15 schools. In fact, I have a student who got an interview at Harvard with GRE score, so it doesn't really matter. Your second question, sorry, what was your second question? I forgot, sorry. I
Yes,
think
so
yeah.
yeah, so the second question was about the scholarships aspect. So what are the chances of getting scholarships and how do you prepare for the scholarship application, so to speak? Like, is there a separate
Okay,
strategy or what makes you stand apart?
sure. So something about scholarships is uh, I have a now scholarships are seen academically, personally, professionally. Again, if you have achieved s- some great results in any of these, everyone gets scholarship. So it's not. Some say that there is something like you score high, you have great GPS, you get scholarships. No, I have someone who scored 685 get 80,000 scholarship in Ross, and he's got 70,000 scholarship in Darden, and he's got 50,000 scholarship in TUC with 685 uh, GMAT. But he was a consultant at Mu Sigma. That is first thing. I have someone with 323 GRE, and he's worked in non-profit organization, and he's been doing that for a long time, for 4.5, 5 years, and even now he's got a scholarship of 45,000. I have someone who's got 100,000 scholarship from MIT and Booth. That is of course, he went to Berkeley, UC Berkeley for undergrad. So he did get a scholarship and he worked for Apple. So if I were to identify what is the criteria for scholarship, I would say that your performance academically, personally, professionally, any of these can be considered for scholarship. And if you say that, how do I meet a specific requirement? So let us say your academics are not so great. Let us see, when I say academics are not so great, we cannot compromise with your GMAT and GRE if you're applying for a scholarship. That is for sure. Your GPA might be low. Your GPA might be low. Surely, Savita, I'll get back to you. Or your GPA might be low, but your GMAT or GRE, it requires you need to perform well on that. It's no compromise over there. Your personal and professional areas, it's always about how you showcase the impact and your intent you have created through your work or personal activities. So there is no specific criteria, but performing and showcasing your performance across any of the three areas should get you scholarship. And another point I would say is, which I normally tell students is, if scholarship is your priority, schools like Emory, Pepper, Kenan Flagler, they love to give scholarships. In fact, if your professional qualifications are good or decent, and your GMAT is super high, when I say 6.8, 695 or above, and if your GPA is decent, there is a possibility to get scholarship at top 15 schools like Ross, Duke, Darden, McCombs. So every school offers scholarships. This can be discussed as we do profile brainstorming, which I normally do. But I'm telling you that don't disqualify yourselves thinking that you are not worth a scholarship. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you. Thanks, Sridhar.
No problem. Okay, I see a question from Savita. Yeah. Okay. So yes. So coming to GMAT GRE waivers. Uh, so I have a student who applied with GMAT GRE waivers The problem with GMAT GRE waivers is, like I said, if your GPAs are low, you don't want to apply with GMAT GRE waivers. Like I said, you have to tick that box. What you have done in the past is not your present situation. But however, you have to give GMAT GRE to show your curriculum. You can manage the curriculum. However, coming to schools across UK who do not require GMAT GRE, see, the most important thing I'll speak about the education is uh, the investment of your education is the direct reflection of the salary you will get post your education. So if you're investing $60,000 or $70,000 in a specific school, your starting salary would be accordingly, you would be taking up a role as a data analyst or a business analyst at $70,000 to $80,000 accordingly. But if you go to an Ivy League and spend 150K or 200K, and if you get into MBB consulting, you will get paid 250 to 270K annually. So the reflection of your investment is directly related, is directly on your job. So sometimes don't rush to get into a school, rather clearly identify if that school really helps you to reach where you want to reach. That's very important. Don't just apply because there are waivers or anything. That's my honest suggestion. And considering the current economy, people are only getting jobs based on their pre-MBA experience. So if 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 you can add value to a specific role through your pre-MBA experience, like you have been in tech and you're getting into tech consulting, so they would expect you to have some knowledge in tech. And since you fulfill that, you can do that job. Otherwise, it is difficult. So to get into that job, make sure that your school actually provides you resources to get into that job. Don't just apply because of the waivers. I know school is also doing a business. You need to clearly understand that. So make sure you clearly identify what you're doing and where you're investing, because if a school is really taking out the GMAT GRE, there should be some reason for that. So surely look into it and don't rush in applying. Hopefully that answers your question.
Yes, Sridhar. Actually, there's no comparison between top 10 schools, USA and UK. There's some Brunel University and Liverpool. Uh, they even waive up based on my experience, even IELTS score also, because I didn't give an IELTS. I just have a Cambridge certificate from my academics. So I thought, okay, they are waiving off, and they're saying, yeah, you having a good profile, you have experience. So now you are saying it's literally
No,
opposite.
no. See,
No, it's
the only
really,
thing.
no, you are saying correct, and this like actual scenario is this. You are thinking like
Yes,
that. So
absolutely.
this is
2 points I would always say is, one, understand the current economy. You know how it is moving and where it is moving. Okay, first thing is that. So don't rush to fly anywhere. I understand that we all have certain societal pressures or personal pressures, but understand where you're investing your money. First thing is that. Second thing is, coming to Liverpool and all these universities or any university, business schools are doing business and they want to make the money. So, they can, in fact, I know that I was in one of these meetings in GMAX in New York. So I'm based in New York, so I was there. And I was speaking to schools and I saw that I was meeting the AdCom of Pepper, and I asked them a simple question like, you guys are giving admission fee waivers, application fee waivers. And they said that, yes, the economy has been bad. I mean, even the applications have been low to Pepper, so they are trying to push more and more students. So they are trying their marketing team, whatever they are trying their marketing tactics to get this. But the most important thing is this is also a good time to apply, because if you have a decent score and apply to Pepper, you could get a scholarship. So these are the ways. Maybe you want to invest less in your education, at least in terms of admission fee, to get the most important and the best, you know, degree or graduation certificate. Yeah, to get your immediate job. So invest less, but that doesn't mean that you invest in schools like Liverpool or Brunel because I don't think I'm sure it will be very difficult to find jobs after that. And UK's economy is super bad, so you don't even want to think about it right now. Any more questions, guys?
Uh, Hi, Mahima here again. I know we are a bit over time, but on the same vein of UK and US economy question, like with obviously the economy and whole fuss around H1B and immigration in US, and UK again being not the ideal choice right now. Do you think Europe schools pivoting to Europe schools is like suggested? Like, what do you think?
Coming to H1B, hope you heard the news about H1B. Did you?
Yeah, like the F1 students might not be eligible for the H1B laws.
No, they are eligible. That's the good news. So anyone who comes into this country on F1,
Mm-hmm.
they can transfer to H1B, and their employer does not need to pay 100K.
Oh,
First thing
okay.
is that. So
Okay.
anyone applying from outside US, like let us say your company is in US and they want to bring you from India on employment, they need to pay 100,000. Not for the students or anyone who is changing their visa status within the
Mm-hmm.
country. Only for outside, they have that 100K increments. Okay,
Okay.
that is first thing. So I'm good, you're good, we all are good. Okay,
That's
that's
really
first thing. Yes. Coming to the second point. Mm, See, I would always put my money in US, no matter what it is. Yes, European INSEAD is good. INSEAD is well recognized, and to be frank, many of my INSEAD students have. So INSEAD is one of the highest admits I have, and many of my INSEAD students have always had jobs. So if not jobs, they are at least coming back to India and they're joining VCs. So they are getting paid good. They're getting
Mhm.
paid 90 lakhs or about. So they're good. That is for sure. Uh, Coming to London Business School, that should open doors for you within Gulf and London and Asia. Okay, because it's well recognized.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to other European schools, I wouldn't even recommend HEC Paris because um, I don't think HEC Paris is really doing great unless you're from luxury industry or you know
Mm.
service oriented industry. Even then, it's difficult, but you should find some internships and take it from there. For other European schools, I don't think you should invest. Rather, you apply to schools in US and top 20 schools, stretch it max to top 20 and come to US and invest in schools here. That should be a better idea because you should at least find job opportunities here.
Mm-hmm.
Because in Europe, if there's no job opportunities, that's tough. But another smart way, which I wouldn't recommend, but what you can do is you spend less amount in Germany, and because Germany is trying to get increase their workforce. So maybe those are the places which you can actually make a difference. But again, it requires certain language requirements and everything. Otherwise, I don't think so. It really makes sense to go to Europe.
Got it. And like interesting point on the Germany, I'm also hearing a lot about people going to Germany, but uh, the thing is, I might be unaware, but I haven't heard like big schools or big brands which have like provided a good post MBA experience from Germany as such, as compared to what I've heard, like at least UK, Europe, and US, and even India, like ISB and the 1 year programs at IIMs.
So I know there's one school, HHL Leipzig, I believe, but that school was good for masters in management. So Germany has never invested much on this. Germany has never invested much on this, but the point is So this is like you going and finding a job opportunity there. So like I said, you invest less and go and explore the country, and
Hmm.
that's how it works. If you don't want
Hmm.
to stress too much about getting into the competitive world of US, that's another way of doing it. But yes, I do know that the salaries are decent in Germany because I have few of my friends and they're doing good. But most important thing is learning German is very important. So yeah,
Got it. Thanks for allowing me to pick your
no
brain.
problem. No problem. Yeah. Uh, okay, I have one question. So, like I've said, Savita, even though you have completed your master's or MCA, it's very important to understand why you're pursuing MBA and what is the reasoning you're giving to the school. That's very important. It's not about how many degrees you have done. It's about what are you doing after the each degree and how is it aligned to the career trajectory you're choosing. So if you want to become something, it's very important you tell them that I've done this, but this is what I'm missing, and now I want to come to your school and achieve this. Then I'll be able to reach that position. That is the way how you can say. Okay. So it's not about the right decision or not, it's about understanding what do you want to achieve, and also if your experience post masters, how would it add value? That's what it is. Hopefully that answers your question. Yeah, Swastik, I see your hand raised.
Yeah,
You
Sridhar.
have a question?
One final
Yeah, yeah,
question I had was
no problem. Yeah.
oftentimes I hear this from a lot of actually one of my cousins is going through the same thing. What's the merit to applying for B schools right after undergrad? Are there good chances of getting good admits? And she is targeting US and UK. And the reason being that she does want to directly go into those strategy kind of roles. She doesn't want to take up a job and just get tied down. She insists on investing in her B school education to secure those career goals for her at an early age. So I want to know that does are there merits to doing that, or should she kind of wait and work for a couple of years and then target applying to the good business schools?
I have a few questions on that. So what was her undergrad and where did she graduate from?
She graduated with a fintech bachelor's from the Symbiosis Skills and Professional University in India.
Okay, the point here is she still okay? What is she doing now? When did she graduate?
Oh, she's about to graduate, but she has had 3 internships and she has almost secured a job like post graduation as well. So she was
First thing,
asking that,
first thing she needs
yeah.
to do immediately is she needs to apply for
Mm-hmm.
deferred MBA, which is applied in the last year of your bachelor's. So what is deferred
Okay.
MBA is you lock your admission at any of the top schools, and after 2 years you can take up the MBA, 2 or 5, between 2 to 5 years. That is first thing. Second thing, if she wants to get into top school immediately after MBA, it's very rare. I would say the chances are like 1 in 10. So it's very rare that without WorkX you get into a top business school. I'm talking about. So what she can do is give GMAT GRE score high and apply for deferred MBA. Second question, see, uh, if you're asking about how the growth would help professionally, I would say that work experience plays an important role because when you sit in a classroom, you're sharing a classroom with people who come with different work experience. What does that mean? You said you're from design team, so you're coming up with your ideas of design, production, or operations, and you're adding value to operations class. Someone is coming from manufacturing, someone coming from pharma, and all. So when a case study is discussed, different ideas are being discussed But what I learned when I was in classroom is I had advantage over others because I was a entrepreneur and I've implemented things in my career. So while the other students were, some of them were, they did not have much experience within the industry. So when I was taking up supply chain classes, it actually added a lot of value because I could connect the practical reality to theory, what was happening there. But some of them struggled. Similarly, when I sat in finance class, I did initially struggle a little because the finance which I observed in India was very different from the finance which was done in US, at least for me in terms of the financial models. The way I would build was very different from what they would teach me here. So, without experience, when you sit in these classrooms, I'm not sure how much you would learn. Rather, I would recommend getting a work experience and connecting it to the practical reality, and then maybe you could make out the most of it. So, MBA is more about learning than what you see in schools in India. In India, it's more about graduating, getting scores, and all that. But in US, when you invest, it's more like an incubation hub where you learn from case studies, experiences, process, and all. And most of it is practical work. Hopefully, this answers your question.
Yes, thanks. Thanks, Sridhar. That's all I had. Thank you.
Great, great. Guys, I've left my email in the chat window. In case you guys have any questions, please feel free to reach out. Happy to answer anyone. Even if you guys are looking for a profile brainstorming, or maybe you could book a session directly from my website, openadmits.com. We have a book your free consultation tab there. Click on it and get your profile reviewed, and happy to help you guys.
Thank you everyone for making the time. We'll be sending a copy of this recording as well as Peter's booking link and contact information in a day or two later by Monday. And we hope you'll join us for the next set of upcoming sessions. We'll be covering a variety of topics. We'll be bringing on some guest speakers as well. People who have successfully gone through this process and who are at multiple goals. So you'll get to hear their lived journey and perspective too. Really appreciate your time. Have a great weekend and hope to see you all again soon.